The medieval church, and especially the papacy, wielded powerful spiritual weapons that no secular ruler could easily ignore in order to achieve independence from secular authority. Chief among these were excommunication and interdiction. Excommunication expelled an individual from the church and denied access to the sacraments, while interdiction went even further, shutting down all churches and sacramental life within an entire kingdom. In a deeply religious society where salvation was believed to depend on participation in the sacraments, these penalties were terrifying. Subjects often withdrew support from an excommunicated king, fearing that loyalty to a condemned ruler might endanger their own souls. This immense spiritual leverage explains why, despite military and political resistance, the papacy ultimately prevailed in the Investiture Struggle. The conflict formally concluded in Germany with the Concordat of Worms in 1122, though similar agreements would later be reached elsewhere in Europe. The Concordat established a crucial compromise. Bishops would now be elected by the local clergy rather than appointed directly by secular rulers. The emperor retained no official role in these elections, except in the rare case of a tie, when he could cast a deciding vote. Although emperors continued to influence episcopal elections informally, the settlement marked a major shift. Bishops were no longer legally dependent on kings for their authority, and the church had taken an important step toward independence from secular political control. In the aftermath of this victory, the papacy moved aggressively to bring the clergy more firmly under direct Roman authority. One of the most significant tools in this expansion of papal power was the growth of canon law, the legal system governing the church and its clergy. During the 12th century, a wave of new legal developments strengthened the Pope's position dramatically. All disputes involving canon law could now be appealed directly to Rome, where the Pope issued final judgments. Papal authority was also elevated above that of church councils. Popes claimed the right both to override decisions of earlier councils, including foundational gatherings such as the Council of Nicaea, and to approve or reject the rulings of new councils. This effectively granted the Pope the power to reinterpret church doctrine itself. At the same time, popes gained increasing control over clerical appointments. By appointing more members of the clergy, the papacy shaped the very electorate that chose bishops, reinforcing its influence over church leadership at every level. Popes also insisted that clergy accused of crimes could be tried only in church courts, regardless of the offense. Secular governments often resisted this claim, but in several regions it was accepted, at least temporarily. Together, these developments propelled the papacy toward the height of its medieval authority. That authority reached its zenith under Pope Innocent III, who reigned from 1198 to 1216 and became one of the most powerful popes in history. Innocent believed the papacy possessed a plenitude of power, complete authority over the church and, when necessary, over Christian rulers in secular affairs. He argued that God had entrusted the Pope with the responsibility of overseeing the fulfillment of divine will on earth, famously describing the Pope as below God, but above man. Innocent was also the first pope to adopt the title Vicar of Christ, emphasizing his role as Christ's representative on earth. These claims directly challenged the long-standing assumptions of medieval kings and emperors, who believed they held religious as well as political authority within their realms. Innocent decisively ended any remaining imperial claims to control church affairs in Germany, northern Italy, or elsewhere in Western Europe. He insisted that no one could be elected Holy Roman Emperor without papal approval, an idea earlier popes had proposed but never fully enforced. Innocent compelled the German princes to accept this principle in practice and even revoked the emperor's traditional right to vote in episcopal elections, further curtailing imperial influence. Innocent also extended the church's authority into the daily lives of ordinary Christians. His greatest domestic achievement was the Fourth Lateran Council of 1215, one of the most important church councils of the Middle Ages. The council formally defined the 7 sacraments of the Church: baptism, confession, communion, confirmation, marriage, anointing of the sick, and holy orders. It required every Christian to confess sins at least once per year, vastly increasing the Church's oversight of personal morality. The council also formally articulated the doctrine of transubstantiation, declaring that the bread and wine of the Mass became the literal body and blood of Christ. This elevated the spiritual importance of the Eucharist and reinforced the sacred authority of the clergy who administered it. Between roughly 1000 and 1200, the papacy was transformed from a largely symbolic office into a centralized institution with real jurisdiction over church affairs across Western Europe. Under Innocent III, papal power reached unprecedented heights, yet even at its peak, papal authority was not absolute, nor was conflict with secular rulers constant or inevitable. For much of the Middle Ages, kings and church leaders cooperated out of shared religious convictions. Tensions emerged gradually as papal ambitions began to threaten what rulers regarded as both their political authority and their religious responsibilities. Ultimately, the papacy's triumph rested not only on organization, legal reform, and spiritual sanctions, but also on its immense moral prestige in the eyes of medieval Christians. As social and political conditions changed in later centuries, that prestige would erode. Even so, the achievements of the High Middle Ages permanently reshaped the balance between church and state, ensuring that the papacy would remain a central force in European history.